Okay, so it's almost 8 o'clock in the evening. I'm just doing this as kind of one last recording before the sun goes down. Tomorrow morning, early in the morning before the sun comes up, we're going to be, Toby and I are going down to Knoxville to take him to the vet, to the oncology, and they're going to run all their scans, and we're going to see about getting him chemotherapy to eliminate the cancer from his spleen. So yeah, I'm nervous, okay? I'm nervous, alright? Look at that sky, though. It's gorgeous. I have to remind myself that even after Toby passes, and I'm hoping everything's gonna be okay tomorrow, you know, there can always be some surprise worse news, but even after Toby passes, that I still have a purpose in the world. And if anything, my purpose is now finally realized. That everything that I learned on these walks with him these last 3 years is meant to be activated. It's meant to be heard, and not just through YouTube videos, because many of my videos from years ago, I was still very young, kind of like a freshman or sophomore in a course, you know. I wasn't totally ignorant or naive, but I still had years ahead of me. I just want to film these clouds, man. Look at them. They're heavenly. So, and I need to just be patient, not rush the gun on anything, you know, literally rush the gun like to suicide or anything like that, you know. I need to just be patient. I need to see how things play out. One thing, though, as I learned with Jenna, is I will not watch him suffer. The moment I start to believe that he's suffering, that's when things are going to change. You know, that's when I'll actually have to be thinking about putting him down. Most people put a dog down because they don't want to pay the bills for their health expenses ahead. That's that. Meaning the people don't want to suffer. If Toby can get through this cancer, I seriously think he will be totally content to continue to eat chicken and fish and eggs every day and go on walks with me and hang out next to me. He would be totally content to do that. You know, the walks might not be as long, but I know that he would still want to live. And so it's like I said, if we can get rid of this cancer, then that's what we're going to do. Look at this sunset here. I always gotta watch my footing too, man. There's snakes out here, you know. From like that last video that you guys saw, that snake just zipped around us. That's what Toby took me to. When I was watching that video on, you know, after I had recorded it, I realized that Toby, because Toby doesn't normally go up to the right here. He normally goes to the left because that's where we go on walks. He was going up to the right. Like he was following his nose. And he was just standing there, kind of just pointing in the direction. And then, sure enough, a snake zips on by. So he was going after what smelled like a snake. And that's probably what he does out here, too. Great, right? Great. So when he comes out here and he just like stands like right here and he's just pointed out there, I'm like, okay, so there's something out there, or maybe like right there, you know? So, um, I would just really like life to stabilize. I have been going through, well, let's see here. Lost my dogs 3 years ago. Lost the last job I ever had 3 years ago. Car engine died. I had to get that replaced. Septic tank went out. Got that fixed 8 months later. 8 months of no running water, if you could imagine that. No sinks, no showers, no toilet flushes, nothing. For 8 months. So that was a rough year. Losing my dogs obviously was the biggest part, though. I've had no income for 3.5 years. Oh, and then there was the credit card debt and them trying to take the house. I had to file bankruptcy to keep them from taking the freaking house. These dang wolves, you know. Um, and so that was a really difficult. 2021 was a very hard year for me. 2022 is a little better in some ways. I was hopeful. Toby was still, was he 14? He was still in good health. And I was hopeful. I was still alone, but hey, it was better than 2021. And then, of course, 2023 came around, and I was still hopeful. Beginning of 23, I was still hopeful. But I just need, I need a strong routine where there's joy in my life, where I could be able to handle losing Toby. I'm not asking for like to feel absolutely nothing to lose Toby. I know that's not going to happen. I'm asking for like to be able to change my life, to be able to reposition myself to where I could bear it. To where I have some kind of a social life, some kind of a routine that keeps me stable. Because it's bad here sometimes when I'm here just by myself. Well, like always, but I couldn't imagine it without Toby. I could not imagine it. Oh my gosh. He's the only reason I stayed. Maybe I'll walk up there just to look down the road. There was a time, and you know, I'll change his diet, and I'll see how he does, because I think his diet really is affecting his energy levels and even possibly his arthritis. Just gonna go up here to get this on camera here. Because it is pretty. It is pretty out here. All these years with Toby, you know. Like I said, I think that the real tragedy would be if I committed, if I offed myself after having learned everything that I did, debated everything that I have, you know what it is? I just don't want to go to the next chapter. I just want to stay back in the last chapter. It's like somebody who doesn't want to graduate college. you know, they're just like content to just stay and take more classes and keep their college friends and their college life. And they don't want to have to leave all their friends. Like their college friends are kind of like my dogs. I don't want to have to leave my dogs. I want to leave my college friends. I don't want to have to, you know. That's what it kind of feels like. Like I'm finishing up school here. I've been here for 11 years. And I am wrapping it up. And I don't like that idea. So I said I'd like to at least be able to take Toby with me for the first year or two of the next chapter. As a transition, you know. Oh, man. Um, I'm trying not to be afraid of tomorrow. I really am. But at the same time, I got to remind myself that right now, today's not so hot. Today I know he's got cancer, and I'm not doing anything about it. Today I've got no income, as I have the last 3.5 years. So really, I'm gonna, you know what? It kind of reminds me of. There's this dog down the road that the neighbor had tied to a tree in this little cage, and he was aggressive. He was scared, is really what I should say. And me and this lady from the Humane Society, we tried so hard to get this dog out of there and into her car, and that was not easy. And that dog did not want to leave that little cage that he was tied to. This kind of reminds me of this trailer. This is like my little cage that I'm tied to, and I just didn't want to leave it. It's all I know. It's my one safe thing, my one safe place, and I think that this dog was abused because he was kind of afraid of people in a way that most dogs aren't. And I remember trying to get that dog out of there, and afterwards just thinking, I was like, man, that dog's kind of like me. And people were trying to get him out of there, and he just didn't want to get out. Like, I could have all the resources in the world, and I still probably will not leave this house. I never thought about that, right? If I had all the resources in the world, would I even leave this house? I don't know. Not permanently, maybe for a little bit, but not permanently. It'd be hard to, you know. Um, but what I could do is I could really fix the place up, make it nice, so that to invite people over for game nights. So if I get involved at a church, I could do that. But the thing is, it's not convenient. I'm so far away. Everyone else in town would have to drive 30 minutes out here. I mean, it'd be worth it on a pretty day. I think they'd like to on a pretty day, you know. But just for game night. Plus, it's not very big inside. I don't see more than 8 people. I don't see more than 8 people being able to fit like in the living room and everything like that. So maybe someone else's house. I don't know. I'll make the board games. There we go. I'll bring the board games. They provide the environment, something like that. But It's having to say goodbye to my youth. It's like I said, back to what I was saying, it's kind of like leaving a college, but it's also having to say goodbye to your youth when you don't want to. You just want to stay like a kid, you know? Having to say goodbye to your youth. I mean, that's a mix of things. You're saying goodbye to some bad things too, like dead end dates being stood up and games in the dating world. That's all childish stuff. That's not. I'm saying goodbye to that, or said goodbye to that years ago, you know. But that's what I meant when I said earlier about I'm saying goodbye to a lot of bad things. So it's like, oh, like, yeah, like that dog. Like, that dog is about to get a huge life upgrade, right? But he's scared because all he's ever known is that little cage. And I point the camera back to my house. Yeah, that's all he's ever known is his safe place is that little cage. And he doesn't want to leave it. And he's scared. Even if people are coming to literally take him to a better life, he's just like, I don't want to go, I don't want to go, I don't want to go. I'm scared. This is where I'm safe. You know? And I remind myself of that little dog. It does seem like every time I've helped with a foster a dog or something like that, that it's very symbolic for that time in my life, you know. And so that was the last dog I had to foster, and I just was remembering that, like, that does remind me of me and probably leaving this house, like that little dog. Yeah. Yep. But I'm leaving some bad things behind too. Like I said, for all I know, Toby's cancer is early, is easily treatable. He'll go through, 3.5 months of chemo. He'll be low energy, and I'll go easy on him. And he'll probably just stay at the house. But after that, his cancer will be gone. He's in the clear, and then all he's only got to worry about then is losing his vision, going blind, or not being able to move anymore, which I'm sure he has at least a year and a half for either of those two before they become severe. Even though the moving thing is, I'm kind of wondering about that lately, but you know what I mean. So for all I know, see, I'm terrified. Tomorrow I've got to go to UT, and then next week I've got a big hearing. And I'm scared of having to face both. And yet, here's the funny thing. They both were something that I set up to make life better. So I'm afraid of facing the very thing that I initiated to make life better. Like, maybe there is something very better. Like that little dog doesn't know it. There is something very better on the other side of getting into that car and just letting the changes happen, you know? Maybe 2 weeks from now, I'm sitting here thinking that I'm going to find out Toby's going to be dead in like 4 months. And then I'm not going to have a future. That's what I feel like right now. That's what I'm afraid of. But for all I know, tomorrow they're going to tell me that he's going to be fine in 3 months and he'll have years, or his natural life ahead of him. And that'll be a huge burden off my chest. And then I might realize I might actually have a future. And I can actually feel well again, because I haven't felt well for weeks now, ever since they showed me the tumor in his spleen. I've been feeling like in limbo. I've been feeling like I've not been eating much, and my sleep has been okay, but that's been hit and miss. I've been very much on edge every day. Like, normally I would not be standing out here in the woods with a video camera talking about my thoughts. That is not what I would be doing on a normal day. I would at the very least be watching something on YouTube, or maybe playing a computer game with some people or something like that. That's what I would probably be doing if I felt better. But here I am in pain out here on the road. I just like him to be feeling better, have his cancer removed, and be able to just go with me to some places and just walk around, be able to walk around, you know. and he and I have a future, even if it's not for too much longer, just something like that. Allow me to be able to build a future. Allow me to be able to build an environment where I can handle losing him, you know. So I gotta watch out, man. These ticks will drop on you from the trees. So maybe I shouldn't stand directly under a tree. That'd probably be smart, right? Yeah, that'd be the smart thing to do there. I'm not under a tree now. Good. Gotta be mindful of these things, you know? Those tick bites, man, for me, they last for months. I'll be itching for months with a tick bite. They are no fun. And plus, they can get you a disease, too, if they stay too long. There might be a really better. I keep forgetting that when you don't know either way, it could be bad, it could be good, but I always focus on the bad, you know? I always think about the worst case scenario. It's really hard on the heart. It's got to be a discipline to be able to just remain neutral in terms of how you feel or what you expect when you don't know, you know? Because it seems like most people are one way or the other. They'll be super optimistic or super pessimistic, you know? And I lean towards pessimism, so. It seems like life leans toward pessimism, that's why. But it kills me though to think that. Oh, it looks like the video is about to switch over to the next. I'll just keep going. The place I've been going to, the doctors for years, I'd always take Toby with me. It kills me to think that at some point, hopefully not soon, but at some point, he and I won't be going there anymore, you know? It kind of makes me sad. It's something, a routine I like to do with him, you know? And they love him. People in the waiting room, the doctor, they all like him, so. I was thinking I could take the fence down, but that's when I'm gonna end up needing it because to foster a dog or someone, you know, when I go through all the effort to take the fencing down just to make it easier to mow, that's when I'm gonna need the fencing again. It's how the life works, you know. So I better just leave it up. Yeah. Plus, I've got memories with this fence in that yard, so it was a good little rectangle yard, you know. Can't really see it, but believe me, it's there. It's about to switch over. think it's like 25 minutes and something seconds. 30 seconds? I don't know. Maybe it's 26. I don't remember. Oh, I'm under the tree.